guys, hope you're okay. I had a better sleep last night. I was really tired yesterday. I want to talk about the dashboard a little bit because now it's Tuesday. We should have a little bit of difference between the weekly shifting and the daily shifting. So, for example, the Aussie USD is a sell because they went long on the weekly time frame and they're adding long on the daily time frame. All right. So what you want to try and do is get the two to match. That's like a high level. That's a lower level analysis. So likewise, they shorted the UJ, and then they continued to short it on the daily. So from Sunday, and then this is from last night at 10 p.m. And so what will be interesting just to try and get the two to agree over time. Hopefully that makes sense. You just want, if they've got a bias and they're adding to that bias, it should be quite a strong indication. And also we've got our basket metric down there, so we can see dollar is quite strong, CAD is quite weak, and that's how that works. Okay, so that's that. So hopefully that's clear. That's a good use case scenario. This is what I'm going to be using, so it's a good idea. And also to note that we're risk off as well, quite strongly risk off, which is unusual. VIX is very high, and what's happening with the S&P is that the retail guys are buying the dips. So every time they buy it, price comes down. So they bought it, price comes down. It happens all the time. It's not a coincidence. It needs to flush the dumb money out. So this could potentially be a buy if it ticks down. But what will happen? They'll just try and buy the dip again, and once they try and buy the dip, it will come down. So eventually they'll get destroyed, and then they'll regret, their decision, and they're like, "Oh my God, what did I do? Why did I buy that for?" It's definitely going to fall, and so it needs to continue to fall to convince them psychologically it's going to continue. They can't be buying the dips. If they do, we'll break 4,000, and then that should probably be like the big, the big test, and so hopefully they'll get wiped out, because this is getting kind of annoying. Because I want to buy the dip, but I'm not going to buy the dip when the retail guys are doing it, because they're on majority very dumb, and they're very counter trend, and they lose a lot of money. So I don't want to be with those guys. So I'm going to be patient with risk and waiting for this to come down a little bit further, to be honest, and ideally even cost 50%, because then that will ensure they're trapped. All right, so just bear that in mind. So we should see a strong USD, because we're risk off. It's going to act as a safe haven. Economic calendar isn't too bad. It's quite light, which is nice. We've got some inflation data overnight from China, so that could be a mover. Could be a mover on the Aussie as well. But it's quite nice. We've got a light calendar, and obviously Thursday is going to be pretty bonkers because we've got the inflation rate and ECB press conference at 1:30. So at 1:30, Lagarde speaking, and we've got the inflation rate. So got to bear that in mind. So Thursday is going to be quite bonkers, and then at least we've got a quiet week, which is great. So let's talk about some levels. I don't want to make it a long video. Euro USD, obviously being a very popular currency pair. MS2, 108.78. So keep an eye on that. We might have that as a support. Technically, it's going to be a strong support. We are a sell, and they went long. They went long here. They looked at this support, and then they went long. So yeah, pretty much it sort of had to teeter on that level. I was saying this, how this might be a support, and it looked like that's what the retail guys thought, and so they went long. But the thing is, they didn't exit, and they've added. So of course, what happens when the price falls? So 320 pip move. So yeah, so that's that. So there's your monthly pivot, and there's your 50% crossover. So you'd wait for the monthly pivot to break, and then you'd sell it. Maybe Aussie actually. Aussie. So there's MR1. One above is 85. It's easy to remember. 83.97. I think we might have probed it, and we just need to, no, we haven't. We came very close. We are a buy. So the fact it's fallen is a little bit naughty, but we are risk off. Like I said earlier, there's your resistance there. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. Currently a sell on the currency strength meter, which would make sense, you know, because S&P is falling, so this should be falling regardless of the sentiment, you could argue. AU and do pound as well. One above 74.51, one below is 72.68. We get 50.50. They went long, so you know we should be falling. We should be coming to get that SLC. And this is the largest stop loss cluster on the morning's bulletin, and it's closed. So I think it's quite likely. Yeah, it's 12 pips away. If it goes up, it'll only get larger. So yeah, 50-50. So it's a bit tricky. We do pound. Where are we? And so yeah, it's just looking quite weak. We are a sell, quite strongly sell. We went long here, here. So we did chop sideways for a long time. So it was difficult for them to sort of, you know, get an idea. We were caught within a range, weren't we? Like 130 pip range for a good while actually. It's almost like 2 weeks. So we caught within a range and then had to break, and of course when it did really puke. So that's why they went long. They're probably looking left and thinking, well, it looks fairly decent support, and so they did, and you know it didn't work out for them obviously because they're not looking at the sentiment. So one above 131.40, 1.309, so 130.95. So that's that. We are a sell as well. Go to dollar Swiss, maybe. So there's your MR1. We are 50-50. Like I said on the morning bulletin, they sold it, so that's the reason for the move. Up we went. On above, 92.80 and 92.25. $2 CAD, because I was looking at this yesterday, and yeah, so we're grinding. It's very choppy. Up we went, down we went. Now that move there is ridiculous. It's a 290 pip move. That is just horrible. So maybe we'll have to try and challenge that. We are a buy, so we should be coming up. MR1 is there, so it could be a support. One above is 128.45, 127.80, and do dollar yen, and that's it. And I'll wrap up the video and see how we go. I'm glad I'm not trading gold. I had a bearish bias to it, but I'm glad I didn't trade it. 115.65 and 115.2. There's that diagonal break. You might have seen in my video. But it had 3 touches, so it's not too bad. On we went. Came down to their break even, just below their break even, just to screw them, and up we went again. So pretty horrendous, but you know, that's FX. Gold, maybe. So there's your SLC. That's where we're going to target 2050, and it'll keep grinding higher as long as they're moving their stops. So don't be caught off guard, right? Know the sentiment, and you should be okay. It's 50-50, so it's tricky. One below is 1960. So 2050, 2050. And 1960. So that's that. Have a good one, and yeah, just have a good day and trade safely and use small sizes, because this week's going to be very choppy. We still need to flush out these guys. Right, until they're flushed out, I'm not really going to be convinced that we're going to be risk on. So it's going to be a case of just trading small this week and waiting for these guys to get flushed out. Once they are, then I'm going to trade like a normal size, and then it'll be back to normal. So let's see how they go, and hopefully they get rinsed out. Fingers crossed.